Let me unmute that. Let me soften up some of this. Good evening, guys. How y'all doing? How are we doing? I know we're a little bit, not so much on the late side. I know we usually hit Saturdays on a random time. I don't really have a set time for it, so let me adjust this camera. Right. There you go. All right. Let's see. How we doing? How we doing? Like the title says, we're gonna do some predictions today. Farming some videos. The good old YouTube. Big update for y'all. If you guys see the record, I did go up by 1 point. Let's go. Thank you, Taylor. Hi, Nikki. Came up clutch. I think we're all ready to go. Ready to go. Don't have notes or none. We're just gonna free ball. I do know my picks though. I wish I could have had them. Actually, there's something I need to do real quick. We're going to. I do have a pretty decent idea, a good idea for the most part. Let me move this camera a little bit. Y'all can get a kind of a view of me. I have my OBS over here, so kind of hard to see, but I do have kind of a good idea coming, maybe starting next week though. But today we're going to. You're not only gonna see my picks that I'm gonna make, but also my. Let's see, lower that a little bit. But we'll also be making the picks, and I'm gonna make them live, so you guys know what I'm picking and when not. So there's no like, hey, someone tracks me like, hey, you might have not gotten this, you didn't pick this. And, you know, let's leave everything set in stone, shall we? But let me figure out how to pull that up though. I think it's under the fantasy pick 'em. So one thing I'm doing right now is I'm gonna be doing a pick 'em. That way you guys can kind of see where I'm going with most of my picks. I'll talk about them as well. What I'm thinking. Kind of why I'm leaning towards one way. Some of the matchups, some of the things to watch out for. Stuff like that. But that good stuff I'll definitely explain, and then I'll show you guys my picks as well, so you guys can be informed. But I do have to figure out how to do that though. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. Okay, so just to brush up on Thursday's game. Actually, we didn't even talk about Thursday's game. That was a pretty good one, to be honest with y'all. Let me lower this music. I like this actually. Okay, all right. I think I'm fully ready to go, locked and loaded. Yeah, let's get this show started, shall we? All right. So, week 2 is upon us. We're one game in. We got 15 more to go. No one's on a bye week. I think they'll start in 2 weeks, maybe. I think I saw week 4 bye. Maybe someone gets a bye next week. I'm not too sure. But we still have 15 games to watch tomorrow. That'll be kind of an exciting thing for everyone. Let's see. Okay. Web browser. Bam. There you go. Y'all see what I see now. There you go. All right. So, just to touch up on Thursday, we did have Washington defeating New York on a narrow nail biter. biter. We had Hopkins kick a game-winning field goal after a offsides or neutral zone infraction, whatever they want to call it nowadays. Call late in that game, at the very end of the game. So there's that. That was a dub for me. Look, it was what it was. Like I said, on what was it, Wednesday? Let's just get these guys out of the way. The NFC East is very unimpressive. It was what it was, really. You know what I mean? I will say I've been watching a lot of what is it called? Undisputed, and I do agree with Shannon Sharp. I think Taylor Heineke deserves an opportunity to at least get a couple starts in. I think this is his first win in 3 attempts, but still, big win, throwing an interception late. Most guys kind of hang their heads and just throw more picks or just don't even want to make a play. This man really just closed his eyes, forgot about it, and said, let's go get this job done. You know what I mean? So that was impressive. Don't get me wrong. Pretty excited for next week. The New York's just... they just disappoint me so much. Don't even know what to say about that. But all I'll say is they basically are making me look smart. They are everything that I said they were going to be. So let's just hope Danny Dimes continues that good play that he had on Thursday. I don't think it will, but I do know that I read somewhere that his 6 of his last 9 games are the ones that he hasn't had any turnovers. And the only downside is that, 3 or 4 of his non-turnover games came against Washington or something like that. And yeah, we can't be having that. You can't play Washington every week. Joe just got to get that team. He's got to get that team under control. There's something wrong with him. Something weird with them. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Once they get that boat situated, I think New York will be fine, but they're probably going to stick with Danny Dimes for a little bit. And that'll be the most disappointing part about it. It's just this kid's going to be given a bunch of chances. And you never know, maybe he'll grow from this. He played decent. They left 8 points on the field, which is horrendous in a 3-point game. You left 8 points on the field. You lost by 1, you know, or up by 2 because you lost by 1. But that game shouldn't have gone that way. The holding call is horrendous. Darius Slayton dropping that pass in the end zone, horrendous. But at the end of the day, winning teams win, loser teams lose, and Giants look like they're in for a very long year. All right. I do have my pick 'em in, so this is what I was talking about right here. So you guys will all be able to know what I'm picking, what I'm going with, and I'll do them here live for y'all. The only one that I think might be a little weird is that Dolphin one, because I am a Dolphins fan, just to be fully transparent with everyone. Dolphins always pop up on the top of my list for some weird reason, but it is what it is. We'll talk about this Dolphin game. So the first game after Thursday is the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. I try to be completely honest. I don't want to talk about the Dolphins as much on my channel, just because I don't want to come off biased or too upset or too, you're getting too mad about this and this, or you're overhyping this and this. That's why I want to stay away from the Dolphin thing. But I will say, my only commentary to this specific game, I will be watching the 2. It's at 10 a.m. It's a pretty big game. Pretty big game at home. Your first home game. First game with fans, I believe. Dolphins didn't have fans at home the last year. First home game. First opportunity for the fans to truly be rooting for Tua. Actually, maybe they did have fans. Nevertheless, full pack crowds. At this one, I'm reluctant because I'm high on the Bills. I don't care what nobody says about those Buffalo Bills. I am high on those boys. But I will go Miami. I know Buffalo is a 3.5 favorite on ESPN, but I think my defensive backs will be able to adjust. You got to remember last year, Ryan Fitzpatrick threw 3 picks. We were up by 10, and that really cost us. I think he threw 2 late in the game. We did lose Byron Jones in the second play of the game, so for that game to be ridiculously close early on in the season, I think bodes well for Miami. The game being in Miami, I heard that it says 85 degrees. It's projected 93 last I checked, so the 89 kind of surprises me, but it's going to be a hot game, humid game. It's down in Miami. No one wants to play in Miami at this time of the season, and I think Miami steals this one. If I'm going to put a score on it, I'm going 23-18, something like that. I think it's going to be one of those close games. My defense will make a difference, I hope. We are playing Josh Allen. Everyone calls him the MVP candidate, so, But I'm just going to leave it at that, Miami against Buffalo. So let me go lock. Oh, wrong one. I can still switch it, so that's fine. But I will be locking in my Miami Dolphins pick. So now we can actually now go in line. So next up we have Cincinnati versus the Bears. We have the former starter versus his replacement, Joe Burrow versus Andy Dalton. This game really should be Justin Fields versus Joe Burrow, but nevertheless, we have Chicago starting Andy Dalton. I mean, look, the only thing I'm going to say is I think it was Kevin Wildes on First Things First that said this, and it never really crossed my mind until I heard it from him. If the Bears lose this game, how can you justify to the fans that you started Andy Dalton? You just got beat by the team that replaced Andy Dalton, and you trotted that player out to take an L. That's weird. Don't y'all think? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But that's just weird. I know Chicago's a 1.5 favorite, betting favorite. There's, well, not so much betting favorite, but you know what I mean. I will say this. Their defense is pretty good. I know they got torched by Matt Stafford on Sunday night, and yeah, that did happen. But 2 of those touchdowns were for 50 yards. One of them was a blown coverage. I think their defense is going to be a little bit better, and I think they'll be able to get to Burrow. Maybe their secondary can play a little bit better than the Vikings did. Granted, the Vikings did shut down the Bengals late in that game, so maybe if the Bears watch the tape on that and kind of replicate it a little bit, work it under their scheme with Khalil Mack and them boys coming after Joe Burrow, maybe they can squeeze out a win here, but I just don't see it. I think the Bengals will come out 2-0 in this one, and the Bears are going to go 0-2, and we're going to start hearing, I think we heard it last week already at SoFi, which is kind of weird. How do you hear we want Justin Chance in SoFi? But they're going to start getting louder. They're in Soldier Field, and I think we're going to hear the "We want Justin," "We want Justin." I think that's coming, Sucks to say that. No one wants to lose their job, but I think that's coming. And let me go lock that in for y'all. Mr. Joe Burrow going to Chicago. Next, we have Cleveland and Houston. Um, hey, Houston surprised me last week, man. I really thought they were gonna get beat by Jacksonville, which that didn't happen. Not even close. I'm not gonna say it was a fluky win. David Cullen, I think his name is, the head coach of the Texans, did have them coming out ready to play. So I think he's gonna get them ready to play this week as well. Coming off a win, they're gonna want to show that was no fluke. The only problem is that they're playing a Super Bowl contender. Cleveland is a 13.5 point favorite. That's a little too high. I wouldn't bet on something like that, to be honest. You don't know how these fluky things happen in the NFL. That's a little high, but ESPN, not Vegas. Turns out it was in Vegas. I know I was saying that last week, but it's not. It's ESPN. But I think I'm with them on this one. I just don't think that 13.5 is a little high, just because, again, it's fluky. I think the only blowout we had last week was Eagles and the Rams victories, right? Oh, and the Saints as well. Yeah, I think at 13.5 is a little high, but I think Cleveland, being the Super Bowl contenders that they are, they're going to show like, hey, we were in a dogfight last week, and this is easy money for us. We're not thinking ahead, but we know we should go out there and be the more dominant team and come out with a clean victory. It just is what it is. I think Tyrod Taylor played really nice, and I think one thing we got to start saying about Tyrod Taylor is he's a quality player. He's not a guy I would particularly want starting on my team, but I think he's a high-level backup. At this point, we should be considering him a high-level backup, borderline fringe starter, along the lines of Jacoby Brissett. And yeah, I think Tyrod Taylor earned his respect last week, and he's gonna come out and try to earn a dub tomorrow, but I don't see it. Cleveland, if I'm gonna put a score on it, maybe 35-24, 35-21, something like that, I guess. I don't want to say it's gonna be easy money, but I think if Kevin Stefanski just runs the ball at him, plays their smash mouth football, Baker be safe with the football, don't make careless mistakes, this is gonna be, it's not a walk in the park. Any NFL game is not a walk in the park, but they're gonna be all right. Y'all hear my daughter in the background? All right, next, LA and Indianapolis. The Rams are a 3.5 point favorite in Lucas Oil, so ESPN says that they're probably like a 6-point favorite on a neutral field. I kind of went back and forth on this one, to be honest with y'all. I think, look, Indianapolis is a pretty good team. I think their defense is high quality. They got really upshowed against the Seahawks, even though I think the Seahawks are a really quality team. But the Rams are as well. I don't know what they are, to be honest, because the Rams beat a hapless Bears team with no motivation. And I was really contemplating taking the Colts in this one, because, you know, they're at home, and I think after that beating they took last week, and they weren't able to run the football at all, I thought they were going to come out and maybe make a statement, show that they are one of the big time players. But the big thing that I kind of looked at was their offensive line was a little weak last week, and Carson Wentz hasn't particularly practiced too much. So the fact that he hasn't had time with this team yet, He did a little bit during training camp and mini camps and stuff like that, but actual like in the thick of training camp and preseason, yeah, that was a little weird. So I think the Rams. I'm gonna go with the Rams on this one. I know they are 94% picked on this league that I'm in. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Rams on this one. Even though if they lose, it wouldn't surprise me, to be honest, if they lose. But they'll be all right. I think the Colts will be all right. They're going to be one of those teams that they're going to fall behind. I think, next week they get Titans or something? Maybe? And then they get Titans, Miami, someone else. But they get like 5 difficult teams early on. I think they're gonna struggle a little bit. This losing to the Seahawks, and hopefully they don't lose to the Rams. They don't want that, but if they do, they're in for a long one there. Next up, we get New England trotting out his rookie quarterback versus the rookie in New York, Zach Wilson. This one was a relatively easy pick for me. It's New England's a 6-point favorite. They are on the road. I try to stay away from road teams just because now that the fans are here, they're going to be able to affect the games a lot more. But if you recall, Bill Belichick has a 21-6 record against rookies, and he's just been notoriously hard on rookies and second-year players at the quarterback position. This is a bad spot for Zach Wilson. His team isn't very good either. And I know New England wants to erase the sour mouth that they got last week against the Dolphins. So I think this is one of those games that are going to get one big, real big. I'm going New England on this one. Even though I will say, let me preface this with I didn't see nothing last week from Mac Jones that really told me, like, you're better than Zach Wilson. I think Zach Wilson will be the better quarterback on that field tomorrow. But this isn't quarterback versus quarterback. This is quarterback versus defense. And Bill Belichick's defense is pretty difficult to deal with. And going into your second game, second official start, I think it's like his 4th professional start, because I think he only played 2 of the 3 games or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Zach's got a long day ahead of him tomorrow. But he'll be fine, though. He'll be a fine player, don't get me wrong, but damn, tomorrow he's got Bill Belichick, so there's that. Next up, we get the 49ers in Philly versus Mr. Jalen Hurts, the other Alabama quarterback. I'm just going to show you guys where I'm going with this one. Pick 'em. I'm going with the 28% on this one. This is a very early game for the West Coast. They're traveling from San Francisco to Philadelphia to play a 10 a.m. game. And I think Philly might surprise them a little bit. I think if they just watch the tape on some of the second half, maybe they can put in some work. And I'm really banking on Jalen to make some plays. I'm not a big believer, but I think that defense is coming to play. I don't think what happened last week against the Falcons was no fluke, but it is over-exaggerated. So if Jalen doesn't make turnovers, if he can keep the ball out of the 49ers' hands, because I think if the 49ers have the ball in their hands, they're gonna score early and often. But if they can keep the ball out of their hands, play effective play to their offensive strengths, I think I'm taking the Eagles all outright on this one. Hey, look, their offensive pieces are good there. Their offensive line, a little squeaky, but their defense came to play, and I think they'll try to come out to play this week. And they're going to steal a win from the 49ers. I still am high on the 49ers, but if I'm picking an upset, I'm picking the Eagles over the 49ers this week. Next up, we get Raiders from Las Vegas versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. What do I say about this one? The one thing I'll say is last week, I think Pro Football Focus had Derek Carr and Matt Ryan tied up for the worst passer rating and passing completions, I think it was, when under pressure. So what that tells me is Derek Carr struggles when you bring in an extra guy, or the 4 guys that are coming are just getting it all up in his face. That bodes straight into Pittsburgh's hands. They have arguably one of, if not the best, front sevens in football. The offense really didn't play that great last week. I know they got that win against Buffalo, but let's all be honest, they did get a pump block, so that kind of saved them a little bit. But they got outgained. They got outplayed in every facet of the word of offense, and they kind of stole a win in Buffalo, so that was impressive. Don't get me wrong. What I'm saying isn't implying that the Pittsburgh victory was not impressive. They're warranted a 6.5, a 6.4, or 6.0 point favorite that they have going into that Vegas matchup. But I think if the Raiders defense comes to play, maybe they can get to Big Ben. They can disrupt them a little bit. But I don't think that happens. I think the Pittsburgh offensive line is kind of weak. But they have like 3 rookies or 3 young guys starting on that offensive line. But I think last week's game kind of gave them that experience of coming back, against a formidable foe. And I don't think the Raiders are a formidable foe by any stretch of the imagination. So I think Pittsburgh, not in a 6-point victory. I think it'll be kind of closer than we all think. Maybe in that 17-13, 17-14 range. It's going to be a low-scoring game. Because I'm not that high on the Pittsburgh offense, but that defense can play. And if you watch the first 40 minutes of that game against the Ravens, you would see that Las Vegas offense has some weaknesses. Just don't play man coverage against them, but do get Minkah coming in, Minkah Fitzpatrick coming in from the safety position. You got TJ Watt. Just send him. He was a DPOY candidate last year for a reason. Just send him Derek Carr's way. Heck, he had 19 attempts or 19 targets to Darren Waller. So we all know what his main weapon is. We know what he's targeting. Pittsburgh can make it happen. Next up, I made my pick. Cool. Next up, we have Saints at Panthers. This is another one where I kind of struggled a little bit. I bounced around. I don't want that. Let me mute that. I know you guys could hear that. Look, last week's game against the Packers, I'm not gonna say it was a fluke. Their defense is great. Their offensive play caller is great. They have great offensive pieces. They still have Alvin Kamara. Still have Jordan Cameron. I just think, and I know they're a 3-point favorite. I get that. I just think Matt Rule got that defense ready. I know Zach Wilson made a couple of big throws in that second half, but let's all be honest, that game was never close. And their offense was productive, to say the least. I think if they continue to play quality defense and allow Sam Darnold to play point guard and just distribute the football, hand it off to CMC, get a couple throws out, flare them out a couple throws, or find them on an outlet, I think the Panthers win this game. So I'm gonna lock that in. I know they're 13%, but I'm still locking in the Panthers on that one. If there's one thing I will say is, it's not that I don't believe in Jameis. I just don't trust him. I haven't trusted him in a long time, and I'm not about to start now. If he wins this one, though, all bets are off. Maybe the Saints are a pretty good team, but I need to see it first. It's kind of the same thing with Danny Dimes. You can have one game with no turnovers, but it's not about the one that you have thrown turnovers in. It's about all of the turnovers you've thrown before. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of why I'm leaning Panthers versus Saints. I needed to see it before I can believe it. Their defense is great, but I think the Panthers defense is adequate enough to bait Jameis into a couple of turnovers, and they have better offensive weapons if Sam Darnold can just play point guard. If he's trying to play Superman, it's all bets are off. But if he can play point guard, just distribute this ball, DJ Moore, their other wide receiver, Robbie Anderson, they can do some damage. Unfortunately, they play in a division with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so I'm not about to claim that they're going to do a damage in the playoffs, because that's not happening. But, we'll see. I think all these teams in the NFC South are going to be just battling with each other while we have the lead dog. So that's kind of how I think the division goes. But that's why I'm going Panthers in this game. I know I'm picking another dog, but that's just where I'm leaning on in that game. Next up, this one should be short and sweet. Denver versus the Jaguars. Denver is the favorite by 6, and at home, Jacksonville, just, I don't know what to tell you. They are impressive, but it doesn't translate. They have a great quarterback, but he still made mistakes. And this Denver defense is not one to play with. They are not a joke. I said that in my predictions. I'm high on that defense. I'm not high on their offense. But if Teddy Two Gloves could play, look, I think. Let me put it this way: the Broncos and the Panthers, to me, are the identical team. They play stout defense. I would borderline on that great defense, but their offense is hit or miss. I'm not sure what I'm getting out of Sam Darnold and Teddy Two Gloves. Teddy could go out there, throw 3 touchdowns, but he could also go out there and throw no tuggies, 300 yards, and have 2 fumbles. He doesn't really throw a lot of picks, but he can be lured into a lot of fumbles. He can be lured into a lot of mistakes and not get a lot of third down conversions. And I think that's kind of what will sting the Broncos down the road when things start getting tougher. They're getting 2 cupcakes early on in week 1 and 2. So we'll not exactly know what the Broncos are, but they're a way better team than Jacksonville. I'll tell you that much. The Jaguars are 0-16 in their last 16 games. There's a reason they had the #1 pick last year. And it wouldn't surprise me if they end up with the #1 pick this year. They have 2 games against really easy opponents this year, and that's the Jets and the Texans. And the Texans game is at home in Jacksonville. But if they play like they did last week, Urban Myers might be looking at that contract at USC and might be looking for a way out. I know everyone's been talking about that. I'm not so sold on that. I think Urban came here for a reason, but when your head coach is being accused of not being totally sold on the team, I don't know, buddy. You tell me. So let me go. Oh snap! Oh snap! Oh, that was weird. Let me lock that in. Denver over Jacksonville. All right. Next up, the Cardinals and Minnesota, with the Vikings visiting Glendale. Arizona's a 3.5 favorite, and I'm gonna lock that in. I really love Kirk Cousins. Don't get me wrong, and I think that comeback last year showed a lot of guts. Boy came to play. Fortunately, didn't get the job done, and that's just the narrative around Kirk Cousins. He makes a lot of plays. He comes out to play, but he makes a lot of mistakes. He is not particularly careless with the football, but it's almost as if he doesn't play with any urgency, and that's kind of been his thing. And what makes it worse is that that's kind of Mike Zimmer's thing too. They don't particularly play with a lot of urgency, and when they do, they like they did last week. They come to play. They make a lot of great plays, but they can't capitalize, and that's just the Viking thing, I guess. And let's give the Cardinals some credit, man. I don't think Chandler Jones goes for no more than 5 sacks. Like, that's not happening again. But boy is coming to play, and if that Vikings offensive line isn't ready, I just don't want them to get destroyed. But I do see I don't want to say easy dub, because nothing is easy in the NFL, but it's gonna be one of those games that we, you know what I mean. I do see Carolina, the Cardinals going big here. All right. Next up, we get to see the Super Bowl champions at home against the Atlanta Falcons. We get Matt Ryan trying to redeem himself after last week. Do I see it happening? No. Tampa's a 12.5 favorite. Second behind the Browns, who's a 13-point favorite. Look, man. I love Matt Ryan. I really do. But you have Kyle Pitts. You have Calvin Ridley. I don't know what to tell you at this point. And look, I know you're facing Super Bowl champs, but you guys made it close last year. You know what I mean? You guys really did. And I think you guys can make it close this weekend. It's just, probably not. Probably not. Okay. So we're gonna lock that in. Easy money, and Tampa is a 99% in this league for a reason, and I'm gonna stick with that 99%. Next up, we're running down pretty quickly. How long have we gone? 45 minutes. All right, cool. Well, nice, short and sweet, just to get you guys rolling into the weekend. Next up, we get the Cowboys versus the Chargers in SoFi. with the Chargers a 3-point favorite. Okay. Dallas is a favorite in the league. Yeah. Y'all just saw it. I'm going Cowboys. I think Dak is going to want to say something about that loss last week. And honestly, the Chargers really don't have fans, so it's not one of those things where I'm worried about the home team having a lot of fans ruining the offense for the road team. No disrespect to Mr. Justin Herbert, because he played all right. He played pretty good against that Washington defense. But he's seeing Dak on the other side of that field. So I think Dak's going to come out ready to play, try to get a dub. They did get 10 days to prepare for the Chargers. So that kind of gives them another advantage as to why I'm picking the Cowboys in this one. It's going to be a 70-30 fan split with the Cowboys over the Chargers. I think let's lock it in with Dallas here. The only thing I do want to see is the Cowboys got to run the ball a lot more. I know Kellen Moore came out this week and said that he did call like 20-some run plays, and Dak checked out of like 15 or something weird like that. But they got to run the ball more, and you're not paying Zeke this money. Look, I'm not here to count no one's dollar bills, but you don't pay this man top 5 running back money to rush the ball 11 times a game. You know, he's there to run the ball, and if not, you have Tony Pollard on the bench. He's good enough. If you're trying to tell me that Zeke is good enough, well, you also have another one that's good enough on the bench. So let's start using the stable of running backs. We're gonna need Dak for the end of the season. We've seen this play out before. If you recall, when Dak suffered that shoulder injury late and they lost the division to the Eagles, we've seen this story before. Let's not repeat history here, and let's just go get a W. And yeah, next up we have the Titans at Seahawks. Another matchup between Ryan Tannehill and Russell Wilson. Did I lock that in? Yes, I did. Another matchup between Ryan Tannehill versus Russell Wilson, where Ryan Tannehill is actually, if I remember correctly, he's like 1-2 against Russell. Yeah, I think he's 1-2. But I do think that Seahawks that Seahawks defensive line, they came out to play against Indianapolis. This stunned me that Indianapolis' offensive line could not protect Carson at all. They could not push for Jonathan Taylor and Hines in them boys. They couldn't even find out no rushing lanes. They couldn't do anything with that defense. And I think the Titans' offensive line is a lot weaker, so they're going to struggle a bit, man. And Seahawks are a 6.5 favorite at home for a reason. So I'm going to lock that in. 83% favorite in this league. Man, I'm locking it in. All right, 2 more. The primetime games, the big dogs, the babies, the Patrick Mahomes being 3-0 versus the Ravens, and he's gonna get a 4th win. Unfortunately, he's gonna start that Lamar Jackson isn't a real quarterback narrative, which is such a low blow. I think it's really unfair for Lamar whenever people say stuff like that about him, because he's still a very good quarterback. He's still a big dog, in my opinion. He might not be a high-level passer, but he doesn't have to be when he could just run the ball. What is it? It projects him to have 86 rushing yards to lead the game. If he can just protect the football, they'll be fine. Let's not forget, he did go toe-to-toe with Patrick the first time around when he was a rookie. But I think this is more like a big brother see little brother kind of game. I think the Chiefs just has their number. They haven't really found the answer to Patrick Mahomes, as a lot of teams haven't found the answer to Patrick Mahomes. But I think Baltimore's going to suffer another one on this one. They're going to get clapped a little bit, and I think it's going to be quite unfortunate. We're going to see those memes of Patrick holding Lamar as a baby, him being his daddy. It's going to be unfair, and Baltimore fans are going to have to struggle for another week with all the memes, all the disrespect. Lamar Jackson's just a running back. We're going to hear it all week. I get it, but it's going to be fine. You're just facing a top-level team. But hey, you never know. They might come out and surprise us and play some high-level defense. The Browns had them down 19 points, at halftime. So maybe just maybe there's something there. Their defensive coordinator really does have to go into the laboratory. Unfortunately, he did have a short week. They had that game on Monday, so they had to get treatment Tuesday and then get into it Wednesday. That defensive coordinator had a lot of work to do on Tuesday during their off day. He's got to look at that tape from the Kansas City game. See what the Browns did right, what they were doing wrong, what led to the collapse. If he can do something to scheme up against that, with that, I think they should be fine. I'm just not entirely excited about it, per se. I'm not truly a believer, but I think Kansas City runs away with this one. So I'm gonna lock that in. They're a 91% favorite, which that's harsh, man. 91% for a team that just like 2 years ago we thought could be in the running to make the Super Bowl. This game is warranted of its Sunday night slot. I just I don't know exactly. Yeah, Kansas City. I'm not gonna go on about that. Next up, we see Jared Goff. Mr. Jared Goff in his first matchup against Aaron Rodgers. Do we see a bounce back game from Aaron Rodgers, or do we see a repeat of what happened? Will Jared Goff be able to show that LA was wrong about him? Yeah, I don't think so. I think the first half of that Detroit versus 49er game was basically what we're going to see in Detroit all year. Them coming back might have been a bit fluky, might have showed a little heart. But Green Bay's 11.5 favorite. Maybe I'm not going out on a limb here and saying that Green Bay's going to win. They did take that 35-point L, though. Don't get me wrong. I do know that happened. I acknowledge it, okay? I know I'm picking the Panthers over the Saints and acting like what happened last week was a fluke. It was not a fluke. Green Bay lost for a reason. There was a reason they took that massive L. But whenever you take an L that bad, right? Usually, you do want to see a team like a division foe who's kind of reeling. That's usually is rebuilding, and those are the teams you want to see following losses like that, because you know that you can pretty much take a game plan from the year prior and just slap it on, make some minor adjustments. Though they do have Jared Goff, he is not Matt Stafford. Okay, we know that. Just keep Jared Goff in the pocket, and his true weakness of pressure in his face will come. I do have questions on that running game from Detroit. I don't know what they're doing. They have DeAndre Swift, but I felt like when I watched him last week, I saw him for a splash play, and he wouldn't be on the field again. I don't know what they're doing, but I think Jared Goff has got his work cut out for him. Will we see Dan Campbell's first win in the Detroit head coaching role? Maybe. But I do not think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Not at all. Not at all. Let me lock that in though. Let me see. I gotta type in an answer. How many total points will be scored in the Lions and Packers game? If I'm picking a score from this game, I think the game will probably be 28. Now, you know what? 33-14. So 47 points. There you go. We're done here. I know it says week 1 I don't have any points, but I didn't make any picks. I just kind of jotted down my picks, but I'm thinking about making a group. I don't know, maybe, but I feel like it might be a little too late. But if you guys want to join in to try to compete, it's Doug Do Wrong. It's a guy from YouTube that I watch. He's a big Dolphin fan, so am I. I joined it to see how I compete against everybody else. Only other thing I want to show you guys is my fantasy, dude. I accept. The only major move I really did for this week is Michael Pittman got switched out with Brandon Ayuk, who dropped a big old goose egg, and unfortunately I am picking the 49ers in this game, so I had to make the unfortunate move. Most of my team relatively stayed the same for the most part. Didn't really get any pickups this week, which kind of sucks, but I was thinking about Robert Tonyan being replaced with Cole Kmet. I think Kmet last week dropped 9 points, right? 9? Yeah, dropped 9. And Robert Tonyan dropped, I think it was like 8 or 2. Okay. Dropped 2 points. But my thought process on that was, you know, they did get destroyed. There was no real reason to hit a tight end that isn't a big play tight end. So that's kind of why I stuck with that. There's nothing really else I can really do, because a lot of these picks are projections. Zach Moss is even hurt. I don't even think he's going to play tomorrow. Tyson Williams, he didn't even play against the Raiders, so got to watch if he's going to play. Maybe have to move him for something. Elijah Moore being a wide receiver for the Jets, who's going to play that vaunted Bill Belichick defense. Don't want to touch that either. So just stay away from that one. What else do we have? Oh, that's this one. Let's see. Oh, here's my. Oh no. Oh, okay, here you go. I'm tripping out here. Next up, this is my other league. I took a dub in this one, so nothing really to speak of here. I might consider Myles Gaskin, switching him somewhere, but I'm not too sure with what. I did move him out of my my RB2. I have Leonard Fournette in there. Switched out with Myles Gaskin. They do play Atlanta, who I think they're gonna run the ball on. Tom's gonna probably hit 2 touchdowns, get himself a comfortable lead, 2-3 touchdowns, get a comfortable lead, and they're gonna be running the football with Rojo and Lenny, or playoff Lenny. So that's kind of my mindset. And Myles Gaskin's playing a Buffalo team that really shut down Najee Harris last week. Najee, I did watch a video earlier today that he complained that his name is not Najee. I never called him Najee, but I guess some people do, so let's call him Najee from here on out. That was on me. My mouse has this weird buttons layout. So yeah, Chase Claypool's another weird one. I'm not too sure, but I don't really have much options. I have Elijah Moore, maybe. Maybe I could move CD Lamb and then play Myles Gaskin in his place, but I'm gonna stay comfortable and confident with what I got. Okay, so I wasn't planning to really play anything tonight, just kind of get my picks out, just get my picks in, let y'all know what I got, what my thought process on some of this games going on. Next week, I won't see you guys till next Tuesday. We'll talk up some of the games, kind of what I saw over the weekend, stuff that made me excited. Kind of the same thing I did this week. I'll kind of have some planned out for you guys, worked out, more in that presentation style. And yeah, have yourselves a good evening. I know this was short and quick, but it is kind of late and I hear baby crying now, so let's get this show on the road. Have yourselves a good evening, stay hydrated, and have yourselves a good night from your boy King Exodus.